Mako grew up the daughter of the masters of the largest temple in the Oni district of Aten City. The temple was hundreds of years old, dedicated to the preeminent god of the Oni pantheon, the demon king Ishkamon, during a time of tenuous relations between human and Oni. While most young Oni no longer believe in such mythical figures, many older Oni still superstitiously treat Ishkamon as a protector deity, Mako's parents included, and the temple over which they preside has long served as a cultural hub and reliquary for the Oni population in Aten. Mako's parents would often say they could sense the blood of Ishkamon running through her veins. Naturally, Mako's upbringing was a strict one, and her parents educated her in all manner of rites and practices so that she would one day take their place and oversee worship at the temple. While Mako was often bored by the long ceremony, she did enjoy two aspects of life at the complex: taiko drumming and the traditional Oni sport Kaminari-Kyu, a wild game similar to baseball. Both of these would be played in honor of Ishkamon, who is said to have a love for all things thunderous. Mako was a rebellious child and wanted to do anything but take over the tedious temple administration from her parents. Amongst her peers, she was a natural leader and would often steer her friends in all manner of trouble. This was doubly true when her closest friends, Vice and Octavia, The trio were inseparable and would play music, Kaminari-Kyu, and Core Strike together regularly. Mako's parents didn't like her spending time with Vice and Octavia, believing them to be a bad influence on their daughter. Furthermore, in the past, a rift existed between Blue and Red Oni, and while most young Oni don't see any differences between the two, older Oni, like Mako's parents, tend to harbor some prejudices. The origins of the rift stem from Oni mythology, particularly the story of the sacrifice of Ishkamon. The story tells of the time in the distant past when humans and Onis were in a constant state of war with one another. For thousands of years, the Oni prevailed due to their physical prowess, but over time, the humans developed technology that allowed them to overcome their disadvantages. Seeing certain defeat for his people in store, the blue-skinned king of the Oni, Ishkamon, devised a plan. He told his lover, Ishkaten, the red-skinned queen of the Oni, that they would stage a betrayal. Ishkaten and the Red Oni would drive Ishkamon and the Blue Oni out, displaying to the humans that they had turned allegiance and sided with them. The ploy worked, and the Red Oni were tenaciously accepted into human society, while the Blue Oni were ostracized to the far fringes of civilization. In the thousands of years since the events of this myth, Blue Oni have gradually integrated into human society, but they remain disadvantaged and stereotyped, so it's not uncommon for them to harbor resentment towards their red counterparts. Mako's parents are no exception, and viewed it as generous that she was even allowed to hang out with Vice and Octavia. One day, during a particularly raucous jam session, Vice thought it'd be a great idea to add some flair to their music by incorporating the sacred drum of Ishkamon to their ensemble. This drum was housed in the center of the temple, and Mako believed she could borrow it without her parents noticing. Despite protests from Octavia, Mako didn't want to let Vice down and managed to steal the drum, surprising the group with it at their next jam session. Vice was over the moon and requested to play the drum, which Mako happily obliged. In characteristically Vice fashion, she smacked the drum with such force that its head ruptured. Vice offered to take the drum to Mako's parents and take the blame for its theft and desecration, but Mako wouldn't let her. She went to her parents and boldly took the blame. They were furious and barred her from ever seeing Vice and Octavia again, putting her in a strict training regimen that rarely let her leave the temple grounds. The group went their separate ways, Vice and Octavia free to explore their musical passions, and Mako isolated at the temple. Time passed, and the three lost touch with each other. Years later, Octavia had become Aten's preeminent virtuoso, Vice had built a cult following in the underground punk rock scene, and Mako was slated to take over administrative responsibilities at the temple of her parents. From her parents, sorry. Mako heard her two childhood friends would be playing at Aten's biggest music festival. With nostalgia for the past in her mind, she attended the event. She was enraptured by Vice's boisterous show on the side stage and entranced by Octavia sat on the main stage. She pushed her way back to try and meet them after the show, but stumbled across them in the midst of a fight, Vice storming off in a fit of rage. Mako managed to catch up with both sisters and found herself in the midst of a strained relationship. She convinced both that giving their old friendship a shot and bringing their old band, Demon Drive, back together on a neutral territory of the Core Strike fields would be for the best. Now the group takes to the field just as they did when they were children. Mako hopes that maybe, alongside her friends, she could change the temples and her own future. Hey everyone, it's me. I tried to do more of a reaction kind of thing, but after doing the video and trying to do it with both my face cam and the game footage, it did not work well out. It didn't work out well at all. So I guess I'll just be giving my reactions through this audio while the visual novel plays in the background. So I really like Mako's story. It gives us a lot of cool ideas and information on how the Onis live in Aten City, and maybe even in Zentaro's island, when with the other side of the on the Oni side, it could possibly be the blue Onis instead of the red Onis that actually live there. And it's a pretty interesting story on mythology, but Mako kinda just is put to the wayside, which might be on purpose, because she's kind of following what her parents are putting her through at the temple. So it might make sense. We know that she likes Taiko. We know that she likes Kaminari Q. We know that she is pretty loyal when it comes to respecting Ishkamon, the god in Oni culture for blue Onis. And she's selfless and wants to protect her friends, which is what happened with the drum that happened 10 years ago in the timeline. But that's all we kind of know about her. And she is the main player for wanting to get wanting to get the twins back together, which is pretty. It's really loyal of her. I like that. I like her loyalty. I like her selflessness. She's she's courteous. That's what she is. She's courteous. And after reading that visual novel, after reading the visual novel, I feel like my opinions have sort of switched between Octavia and Vice. I feel like Octavia. I know that Octavia has been my punching bag on this channel because of how much I really didn't like her story, but I feel like after actually witnessing the fight that you'll see later, or now, depending on when this happens, the fight feels more like Vice just venting to Octavia about how she felt betrayed and left behind by Octavia, and Octavia doesn't really get much of a chance to talk. She just kind of vents, and Vice just kind of vents and then leaves. Octavia doesn't really get the chance to even spout anything. So I sort of sympathize with Octavia with not being able to say the thing that she wants to say. And then when it comes to Vice, I kind of feel, a bit more upset towards Vice. She literally didn't give Octavia the chance to talk and, settle it like mature adults. Instead, she just snaps and just insults Octavia completely and doesn't give her the chance to actually want to reconnect as siblings. And then once they get back and at the temple to practice Core Strike, she's still pretty bitter. And I get that she's still bitter because of from the messages that she got from Octavia and how she was constantly pestered to play Core Strike with her and Mako. But I don't know. Now, instead of Vice feeling like the victim, she still feels like the victim, but she now feels like a victim who won't let her abuser, quote unquote, try to have forgiveness. Which I get that Octavia's not technically an abuser, but I feel like Octavia should have deserved the chance to talk and not just be cast to the wayside and just be your brick wall to yell at. So yeah, those are my opinions on Mako's story and the visual novel and how much it really changed my perspective between Vice and Octavia. So yeah, that'll be it, and that's all the lore for the game. So until next time, keep on striking.
Hang on. Yo! No. Why? I don't believe this. Yo! Yeah? Right. What? Hi. Mm-hmm. Hang on. All right. Let's go! Why not? Yeah. I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. Ugh. Why not? Ah. What up? Mm-hmm. Let's go!